Are you curious about what goes into making a really great listing photo? Well, stick around because that's what we're talking about today on this episode of With a Twist.
I'm Lisa from Marmalade.
And I'm Jay from Marmalade.
And welcome to another episode of With a Twist,
the show where we kick back, grab a drink, and answer your burning Etsy questions.
And you know what comes before the question part of the show.
Every time.
We're, of course, going to talk about what's in our cups, or I guess this time, what's in our cans. So
today we're drinking mead, which is the oldest known form of alcohol. We get this brand from World Market and is definitely a summer favorite because it is really hot here right now.
Yeah, it's actually made in Austin, Texas. I think last time we did a Texas drink too, but it is a summer favorite. Jade and I have actually been to several different meaderies.
Mm-hmm.
Is that meaderies?
Yeah, like all over.
And at first mead wasn't like my favorite thing in the world because it can be a bit sweet.
It can.
And you know, I just thought it was a little bit mediocre. But when it wasn't too sweet, it really was or is a refreshing drink. And this brand here has actually several flavors that will, you know, meet your needs. Meet your needs.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
let's try the drink and see how it is.
Let's do this.
Wow, quite the loud crowd.
Go for it.
All right.
You have the honors.
Cheers, guys.
I guess we should talk about what this brand is called too. So
they are not a sponsor.
No, they're not a sponsor, but Meridian Hive. And this is the honey flavor. And again,
not my favorite flavor. So if you guys go to find it, I do like the honey, but blackberry and peach are delicious. And I don't really like things that are super sweet, but I feel like it's very balanced. So that's my review of Meridian Hive's mead. In today's episode, we are answering a question that was submitted by one of our subscribers, Maria Mate, and hope I'm saying that last name right.
So.
Maria says she's so happy to have found us on YouTube. We're so happy you found us.
Thank you,
Maria. And we are hoping that you learn a lot from our channel.
We are. So the question that Maria actually asked is, what does the perfect thumbnail look like? And if you change your thumbnail, does it affect the algorithm? Great question. Thanks for submitting it to us.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing I'm going to say is that you asked what the perfect listing photo looks like and you called it a thumbnail. And we love that you did that because your primary listing photo is pretty much just that. It's a thumbnail for your listing.
I'm so distracted, guys, because do you see this dog? He is gonna be digging in that blanket for
it's very
probably
upsetting.
The rest of it, and he's not supposed to be over there. So.
Also, there's a fly flying around, and just in case once again you are concerned that we didn't have a theme going on, the dishwasher's going.
Oh, so much stuff is happening right now.
So anyways, back to Maria's question.
Right.
Again,
okay.
Thank you that you called it a thumbnail.
Right. And it's the first thing that image shoppers see while searching for product on Etsy. So you want it to be highly clickable and you want it to demand their attention, which can be harder than you think. So think of your primary listing photo as if it were a video thumbnail on YouTube. So when you're scrolling through YouTube for something to watch, what catches your attention? For that matter, why did you click on this video that you're watching right now? Usually it's because either the title or thumbnail grabbed your attention, or maybe it's a little bit of both. I know that's how it works for me.
Right. And Etsy's really no different, right? Your listing title and your primary listing photo, they're going to need to work together to stand out from all the other listings in search, or to help you stand out. I guess what we're talking about today is how you're going to do that.
And there really isn't one right answer.
There never is.
The truth is, one photo template is probably not going to work for all of your products. It's not like YouTube in the way that you can just slap on a super surprise face and get more clicks for your video. It just doesn't work like that. Basically on Etsy, there's not really a way to clickbait with your Etsy listing photo, not that you would try to do that anyway. But there are some best practices that you should keep in mind when taking and editing your primary listing photos. So let's take a look at what these best practices are.
So the first thing that I'm going to bring up is when you upload your primary listing photo to your Etsy listing, you're actually given the opportunity to adjust your thumbnail. So it's exactly the way you want it to look for Etsy shoppers. But by the time your listing photo is uploaded, there's not a whole lot of additional editing you can do. So you do need to make sure that you're getting everything right from pretty much the beginning. And that means taking good product photos before you upload them.
So here's what you need to keep in mind. And it's something called AIDA. And what is AIDA? And that's AIDA. It's a tried and true method to improve your product photos. And it stands for attention, interest, decision, and action. Basically, AIDA sets the foundation for the perfect Etsy listing photo.
Right. And I know we've talked about it before. You guys probably remember us talking about it before. So if you do want a blast from the past, or you don't remember us talking about it, click on this link that's somewhere located somewhere, probably back there by Goose. For real, AIDA can't go understated, right? In a nutshell, your listing photo does need to convey those 4 things. And if it does, then you've got a pretty solid listing photo that's likely going to be super effective for you. We don't want to spend too much time talking about AIDA since, like I said, we've talked about it in the past, and there is actually a lot of really good information out there on the interwebs about it. So we won't, for lack of a better term, beat a dead horse here, but we will kind of go over it a little bit. So let's go over those 4 pieces. What's first?
First is attention. Does your listing photo demand shoppers' attention, which is what you're really trying to do? When they're scrolling through countless Etsy listing photos, does yours stand out from the rest? Every listing that shows up next to yours in Etsy search results is competing directly to get that shopper's attention first. And if your title and prices are relatively the same, your listing photo is going to be what sets you apart.
Yep.
Really important.
Next up is interest. Once a shopper is scanning Etsy listings and your products are showing up, the question is, why would they be interested in yours over the rest, right? So you've already got their attention. Their eyes are already looking closely at your listing photo. So what about your photo is interesting enough for them to click it? Make it interesting, not distracting, interesting, right. Which leads us to
desire. What makes your products desirable? Is there a certain lifestyle that you expect your ideal customer to have? What are the hopes and dreams of your ideal customer? Does your listing photo portray that your product can help these dreams come true?
And then last but not least is action. So action is the goal, right? You want your shoppers to make the purchase,
right?
Or favorite your listing or share it with a friend. In order to generate that kind of action, you can set up cutoff dates, limited time sales. You can mention that you have limited qualities. At the very least, you need to establish a sense of urgency so that they purchase your product.
I want to take a moment to say thank you for tuning in to With a Twist by Marmalade. Marmalade uses machine learning to guide you to real keywords that Etsy shoppers are using every day in search. Spend more time creating the products you love and let Marmalade help take the confusion out of Etsy SEO. Learn more in the description or at Marmalade, which is MARMALEAD.com.
So that's basically AIDA. Again, attention, interest, desire, and action. And can you safely say that your primary listing photo answers these questions?
That's
if not,
the question, right?
Here are some tips to help you out.
Moving into some tips.
Yes.
So, you know what? Before you do anything else, make sure that you follow Etsy's recommendations for your primary listing photo. Your primary photo should be shot in landscape.
Yes.
That way Etsy's thumbnail crop, again, doesn't distract from the focus of your product. So if you're taking your listing photos with your phone, which a lot of you are, make sure you're holding that phone horizontally.
Right. And the recommended size for listing images is 2000 pixels for the shortest side of the image, and that it has a resolution of 72 ppi. If you use a smartphone to take your listing photos, you're probably getting a good enough resolution already. And there are a ton of free programs out there to resize your images if you guys need that.
Next, let's see. Don't get too close to your product when taking that primary listing photo.
Yes.
When you upload it to Etsy, again, the thumbnail crop is going to give you a chance to zoom in so you can get it exactly how you want it. But if your photo starts too close, there ain't any zooming out.
No fixing that.
No fixing that.
So now let's dive into backgrounds. When you're setting up your shot, There are kind of two schools of thought about this. You can either use a simple background, like with a light box or blank wall, or with Photoshop or Canva, if you don't have Photoshop, or you can have more of a lifestyle photo that helps you tell a story about your product. So one option is a blank background, and a blank background, make sure that there are no distractions that take away from your product, which should really be the focal point of your thumbnail, right? It looks clean and it puts your product front and center, but it can also be a little bit boring, especially if your product isn't necessarily eye-catching.
That's a good point. With a blank background, your product pretty much needs to do all the work, I'd say, right?
Definitely.
To get the attention of the shoppers, which can be a good thing, especially if your product is like an attention-grabbing product. So I'd say the bottom line here is that your product almost needs to sell itself.
Yeah.
Like within 5 seconds of looking at one of these photos, your shopper needs to see and get it, like understand what they're purchasing. And if they like the way your product looks and it speaks to them, then yeah, they're going to be interested enough to click your listing. And if everything else with your listing is desirable for that buyer, all that stuff that we've gone over in previous videos, then they just might take action and buy that product, which would be awesome. That's the point.
Right. That's the whole point. Another option is a lifestyle photo. And so basically what a lifestyle photo is, it's like one that puts your product in a specific setting. It helps convey the lifestyle you want your buyers to experience. When they purchase your product, you're basically building and telling a story with this. So just keep in mind that these types of photos can, on the other end of the spectrum, be a little too busy and distracting from your product, which you definitely don't want. So keep that in mind. Don't overdo it. But they're great for selling an atmosphere and feeling around your product. And they work really well with products that wouldn't get a whole lot of attention on a blank canvas.
So as I am always want to do, let me come in with a little bit of middle ground here.
Yes.
Another option is blending that blank background or blank canvas with a lifestyle photo. So once you get the hang of taking good quality background photos and then the hang of taking, good lifestyle photos separately, you can really start to blend those two photo styles together.
Which is ideal. I mean, that's kind of ideal.
Yeah. So for these types of photos, I mean, obviously there are times when separate works better, but a lot of times that blended middle of the road thing, we're always talking about balance. So it's something to try out. So for these types of photos, like I was saying, you could include, I don't know, like small lifestyle touches around your product, again, ultimately with that product being against a fairly simple background. So just a kind of a combination.
Right. At the end of the day, you absolutely want to make sure you keep track of what works. It's very important that you do. So try experimenting with each example and keep an eye on your listing and see and on your listing stats. Also, don't forget that to see which performs best for your product.
100%. And get creative, right? Be as experimental as you want to be. And remember, you can pretty much never go wrong with a high quality image that has good lighting, clearly shows your product for exactly what it is, and like basically leads your customer to that golden gateway of a sale.
Yeah. So it's always better to err on the side of a better quality photo that's not taken on like a towel.
Quality and clarity.
Yeah.
And that's all we have for you today. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel for more help with your Etsy shop.
Yeah. And if you want to see your question featured on a future episode of With a Twist, or if you have a drink suggestion, please feel free to drop either of the drop either of those in the comments below. And as always, happy selling.